So, hello. I wanted to welcome you to the Martial Arts Alliance interactive map that we have been developing for the last 2 years. I imagine you're seeing this through my YouTube channel. Otherwise, I'm not really sure how you're seeing this. Maybe it's on Reddit or on the website itself. But I just want to show you guys real quick what we've been working on and give you some background context on what Martial Arts Alliance is and what we've been doing. So, to begin with, we have around 4,200 members on the surface, but everybody in the staff comes from either an academic or authoritative position within their respective martial arts system. Of the 4,000 members that we have within the server itself over on Discord, and we're currently expanding to other sort of platforms and building a website alongside the application that we are launching. Of the 4,000 members, everybody comes from around the world. There's no one single audience, though the board is in English. And everybody in the staff actually runs their own communities to a degree. Whether it's a Reddit community like Muay Thai or any of the Koryu to forums from legacy days of the internet. So while there's 4,000 members within the community who interact, share resources, and meet up, train, practice, coordinate on what schools are valid, that sort of stuff. There's sort of a broader, I don't want to say, there's a broader community outside of just the server, and also that sort of expands beyond just what the other staff are running. Because you also have members that are not in any of our servers, but they still contribute or take part in votes, that sort of stuff. So now let's dig into the actual application. So for the last 7 years, we've had multiple projects that the server has been running, and this is just the general sort of side. Two of these have been what we call the library, where we've collected over 2,000 texts and I believe it's around 500 videos, training, that kind of stuff. What we're currently doing through the MAA library here is we organize this and figure out what's public domain, what's private, what we can't disseminate for education purposes, and we vet that. So eventually, this is going to be another resource that we attach. Now, jumping over to the actual map itself, our goal is to try to communicate as elegantly and concisely and democratically as possible martial arts resources that we may not have had when we were growing up. So I began martial arts over 31 years ago. We have members who've been doing it for over 60 years. We've got members who started last week or now open for a school. But these sort of resources weren't really available to us. They began popping up over time with rather weak entries over on Wikipedia, and it's only in recent years that these have really become expansive enough through crowdsourcing, with everybody contributing through their own passion. And websites like in the early 2000s, like Black Belt Wiki. But these have been vetted over decades, so they're reliable resources alongside the ones that we are building. Now, of course, this is a work in progress, and the goal of this is to track every single martial arts in the world and to enable the user who's interacting with it without subscription or anything like that to be able to retrieve those resources, whether it's from our library and public resources to anywhere else. Now, I have to say that not everything is finished. Of course, this is a crowdsourced project. We don't do anything for profit. We always welcome any support and that sort of stuff. But the goal is to develop this enough that it becomes a centralized resource for martial artists who are looking to find places to train and styles that sync up with their interests. For example, this isn't set yet, which needs to be done. We're still working on very many things within it. Just for examples, I'm just going to show you guys around. So as you can see, there's many things that we're still expanding and developing. I love our board. Now that being said, we also have, for example, a search capability that we are adding within it. This would make it a lot easier for you to look up certain arts that you're already aware of. Let's see. And that's what we're actually building this video for, is to invite those of you who are watching to join the community. You can find it down in the sort of text summary of the video, wherever YouTube's put it these days. And we welcome you to join us in actually expanding the knowledge base and developing the system. There's multiple layers that we're developing. There's different imaging formats, of course. It's not a perfect system yet. That's why it's not launched. You can see it's still on HTTP. We're still grabbing the domain name and everything like that. So this is fairly early on. But we welcome you guys in helping us develop it, because there's so much that we can do with this. We're eventually going to be including lineages. We're going to be including notable teachers. And our goal is to really make this a centralized resource for everybody to be able to understand what's going on. Now, we've been collecting these resources for, I want to say, since 2017. That's when the server was launched. But really, realistically, these projects kind of only began to take shape, once we had sort of developed other resources. So this is actually our second application. We developed a forensic system because we want to do eventually like remote real-time video game fighting, because during COVID we weren't able to train and practice, and this has always been on our minds. So we built this sort of a lot of tools for AI enhancement for both images and video that has actually been used in forensics, and we're actually one of the first AI companies over on the predictive side, not the Martial Arts Alliance, that enabled defendant early release. But a lot of the original team that comports this project was drawn from the original Martial Arts Alliance Discord. And there has been very real research that we've been doing to enable sort of not only defendant early release, but prosecution for terrorists and that sort of stuff. But we have these resources, we have the thousands of texts and that sort of stuff. So it really behooves me, in my opinion, to get this out there so that we can enable people, especially as Discord is currently doing this IPO and people are very critical of the changes they are making. So we want to expand our community to be more inclusive of, frankly, everybody. And there's plenty of work to be done. Like, for example, while this may be populated now, this is not a great interactive format because you can barely read the text. There's flickering with the mouse. There's just many things that we can do to make this better, and the goal is also to make this more 3D, and eventually to have every single martial arts style, system, family, subgroup, weapon system, everything tracked for effective ease of access. Now, there's we have over 6,000 nodes that we're currently reviewing. We're roughly populating around 20 to 50 a day. So we welcome you guys to join us in helping us to do this. We do it in a rather controlled manner. There's general members of the community, there's the staff, but there's also the librarians who are collecting resources and doing translation. But there's also people who do the vetting and checking. So they may take what somebody else has already built or found, what another person then translates from it, and they fact check it. Both with historical sources and all of that. And we're extremely thorough. We turn over every single stone possible without trying to denigrate or take a political bias. We build all of these projects to try to benefit not only our community, but broader martial arts or the world at large. And we firmly believe that by connecting people to martial arts like this, that it's a resource that, frankly, we wish we had when I was growing up in the 90s when I first got it started, let alone in the 60s, well before the internet. Our goal is to make a cohesive network of martial artists to be able to practice and train together regardless of their background or style. We have seen wonderful things come out of this, from meetups to Europe, the Middle East, New York. We're looking to do more, and we want to facilitate people exploring and finding themselves within martial arts while doing so in a positive way. Oftentimes online, things can be extremely, how does one say, toxic. And we're looking to try to shake this up, make things more democratic and kinder for accessibility. Because, frankly, martial arts allows you to reach a lot of the potential that you may have otherwise missed and it's very enriching not only for yourself but for others. So we welcome you in joining us in how we are building this. This is going to be getting more and more diverse and complex. We're looking to keep this as lightweight as possible. We are putting this effectively on the cloud, and we're going to try to get this on local servers and that sort of stuff so we can try to keep everything contained. There's no subscription. You don't need to add any data from your own personal side. And we are currently, because of how we vet this, we have a sort of system in place of different documentation for contributing to the actual nodes themselves to expand the knowledge base, to the actual organization, because I'd love to pair this up to an actual world map so that when you click on a country, it can pull up this. So there's different layers and phases that we're going to be developing over time, and this is just the beginning. So I just want to reiterate again that we welcome you to join us in both the online community on Discord before we expand to other platforms and build our website. And Martial Arts Alliance welcomes you to help develop this resource for everyone. And I want to thank you and wish you a great day.